It would help if I turned my fucking mic on, you know. Anyway, so there we go. You're like, I can't hear that bitch. Loud as she is, I still can't hear her. What the fuck? Anyway, so let's make sure that this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, it would help if I would turn the audio on. You know, I'm just saying. Let me get all my back screen shit set up here, and we will get this show on the road. Now we can hear you. There's the problem. Yeah, exactly. There's the problem. Or as my cousin Jen says, she popped in for a few minutes last time because sometimes she works on Sundays, you know, and she's the one that used to say, you know, oh, you know, because I'm a professional. So, by the way, shout out to Jan. You know, if you're watching later or whatever, you know, love you. All right. So, I usually give a little bit more of an intro than a lot of other channels do because I am not well known. You know, I mean, I'm all well known. You know, a lot of my family, friends, you know, whatever. Some people on Facebook, maybe Signal, whatever, BlueSky. But other than that, I'm not well known. So, I am the Angry Wrench, otherwise known as Siobhan. Um, Siobhan or Siobhan, but I go back and forth between Siobhan and Siobhan. It's fucking Irish, you know. Um, like I said, I am the Angry Wrench. I am an activist. I am a mouthy activist, just so you know. As you probably already determined, this channel is not a stranger to profanity, vulgarity, or obscenity. It doesn't come out every single other word or so, but, you know, the occasional fuck, piss, you know, cunt, twat, whatever, okay, that's going to come out of my mouth, okay? And if you don't like it, that's fine. The channel's not for you. I'm not going to change. I am a trans woman. I'm an activist. I am disabled in a variety of communities, as well as being a trans woman. My ass is white. Okay, so I'm a white trans woman, so I don't have that added layer of racial discrimination as black trans women do and trans women of color do. Um, but you know, there are some similarities. You know, some things that we share, etc. My show usually tends to be political. Occasionally I'll do something, you know, about food or whatever, because I'm a foodie. As you can tell, I'm not little. I'm a boomer. I served in the military near the end of the Cold War. So, you know, I'm a boomer. Okay, that's a day or two ago. I try not to have my brain calcified insofar as, you know, being the stereotypical boomer, you know, being the Karen and whatever, you know. I'm not a Karen. Hope I'm not a Karen. I'm a bitch, but I hope I'm not a Karen. Okay. So I talk about, you know, queer issues. I talk about disabled issues. I talk about social issues, politics, religion, whatever, etc. I'm probably going to be focusing on a show coming up here pretty soon, focusing on religion itself, and especially on Christianity. I mean, I will hit some of the other ones, you know, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, but, you know, I live in America, okay, so, you know, I kind of tend to go with what I know best, okay, or what affects me the most and affects a lot of people here the most. So let me get my showrunner here, and we're going to get this show on the road. I don't think it's going to be as long as a normal show today. It may be, you know, I tend to run my mouth, as y'all know, okay. And yes, okay, so I tend to run my mouth, as y'all know, and I get distracted pretty easily. I am ADHD, and I haven't taken my meds yet today. Yay. So, and I try not to do that thumbs up thing, because Trump does that and it drives me up a fucking wall. Okay, so anyway, yay! So, so we're going to hit some brief notes here, and then we're going to get into, there's going to be two segments here. One is going to be probably the longest one, and it's going to be about an individual. And the other one is going to sort of be about that individual, but not quite as well, so we'll get into all that. Okay, so the title of the show is I'm Not Stopping, I Hope You Won't Either. Okay, so my thing about this is I'm not a Pollyanna, okay? I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and say that everything is fine and nobody's going to get hurt. And, you know, like a lot of people are saying, well, they'll never take Social Security. If they could, they would. Just flat out. If they could, they would. Flat out. Okay. I don't think they'll be able to, but I don't know for sure. All right? Hold on a second. There. Okay. I don't think they will, but they will be able to. But I'm not sure. They will. They could if they would if they want could to. They would if they could. You know, I tend to stumble over my words or stutter sometimes too. My brain usually goes 5 times faster than my mouth, which is surprising considering how fast my mouth goes. But they would if they could. You know, they could take away Social Security, this, that, and whatever. So one of the tactics of the GOP is to downtrod the people that they are oppressing, to make it seem hopeless, to make you seem outnumbered, to make you seem like whatever you do is worthless, to make you seem like you can't, you know, there's no reason to care, that you can't take a chance, that you can't make a change, that you're worthless, that your vote is worthless. And it's not true. It's just flat out not true. For one thing, just about the vote, for one thing, if your vote wasn't useless, if it was worthless, why are they trying so hard to suppress it? Because that's what they fucking do. Okay. They try to suppress it very hard. Indigenous says, my brain goes 5 times faster than my mouth, same unless I'm high on pot. Yeah. It's been, oh lordy, 1989. The fall of 1989 was the last time I got high on pot. That tells you how long ago that was. So they do try to use that tactic of making you feel hopeless, making you feel worthless, making you feel like your efforts don't count. Because if they can do that, they can increase apathy in the general population, number one. And number two, specifically the population which wants to push back against them, they're like, well, you know, why bother? It's gonna happen anyway, you know. I'm gonna get screwed over anyway. Why bother even do anything about it? And you're giving in too early. Well, we're gonna get into that. Speaking of the Democrats, we're gonna get into that, okay? But so that's what a lot of this show is gonna be about. The concept of this show is gonna be about pushing back and telling them, fuck you, I'm not gonna give in early. You may take me, but you're gonna take me fighting, kicking, and screaming all the way. But that also doesn't mean that I expect everyone, or that I demand, I should be a better word, everyone to do what I do, or to do more than I do, or even do a little less than I do. You know, you pick your battles, choose your battles wisely. You know, you do what you can when you can. Sometimes on a given day, you just don't feel like it. Indigenous says they hope for the why bother, and that I can't do anything about it anyways. Yeah, exactly. You know, so you sometimes, you know, you feel like you can't do it. Sometimes you can't do it for whatever reason. You know, I'm disabled, more than one version of, so to speak. Excuse me. I can't participate in marches. I just can't. I wish I could. I used to when I was younger. I've done many Take Back the Night marches. For one thing, okay. I can't participate like that anymore. I wish I could, but I can't. So I do what I can online. And sometimes that is devalued by some people, even on the left, that is devalued, okay? But if nobody speaks up, nobody speaks up. If nobody speaks up, nothing changes, okay? So I will do what I can, while I can, as long as I can. But again, that doesn't mean you have to. You know, do what you can. You know, now granted, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, make phone calls and send emails and, you know, and contact your representative. Okay, well, that's true. But, you know, a lot of people did that in the last election, and look where that got them. Okay, so we have to, if we're able to, we have to do more than that. We have to also hold our leaders accountable. And so now we're going to get into Democrats, because I tell you what, these Democrats are about to piss me the fuck off. Okay? Chuck Schumer especially. Nancy Pelosi too, although she made a little bit of a twist that I was surprised by, okay, recently. But Chuck Schumer, and what I call the Nasty Nine, including Peters, the guy who is in charge of the representative, who is in charge of, excuse me, not representative, senator, who is in charge of my part of the state, Michigan, okay, voted with Schumer, 9 of them voted with Schumer, to keep the government going, to keep the GOP going. Now, here's something I mentioned earlier on SJA, okay? So let's say they have a budget call, I guess whatever you want to call it, where, you know, the budget crisis is going to end at midnight tonight, okay? And if they don't end at midnight tonight, the government's going to shut down, okay? So what's actually going to happen? For the first couple of days, probably nothing. You know, you got that government inertia, that bureaucracy inertia, you know. Now, granted, you know, some people might have maybe a notice of furlough or whatever, okay, but very, very few percentage-wise, okay. But, the media makes it sound like, oh my God, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Now, if it continues, yes. But until then, you keep pushing, you keep fighting back, okay? Unless you apparently are Chuck Schumer and the Nasty Nine. Because what they did is they sucked it up, and they sucked up Trump's ass. Not going to beat about the bush. They sucked up Trump's ass, kissed his ring, bent down and kissed his ring, and voted with the Republicans for that continuing resolution, which fucks over people, okay? Just like not too long ago, but in the last 6 months, 4 months, whatever it was, okay, when they had the NDAA, which was a defense bill, 81 Democrats voted for it. It would not have passed without the Democrats voting for it, because the way the House is set, we're talking about House Democrats, the way the House is set, there's more Republicans than there are Democrats. So if all the Republicans vote for a bill, Democrats can piss and whine and moan and throw a tantrum all they want, it's still going to pass the House. But it wasn't that way with this one. I think it was 36 or 46 or something like that. Republicans said, no, we're not voting for that. Now, some of them was because they wanted it more strict, but they still said, we're not voting for it. The only reason it passed was because 81 Democrats voted for it. Okay? One of the two that I'm going to call out here was Jamie Raskin and Jared Moskowitz. Okay? And I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was Jared Moskowitz. Okay? In the House. Was one of the people who voted for it. Okay? Now, it had a transphobic amendment in it. Okay? And they voted for it anyway. And they said, more than one, not all of them, but more than one said, when questioned about it afterwards, they said, well, it was a good bill otherwise, which it wasn't. It was a good bill otherwise, but it had that, and yes, it did have that transphobic amendment in it, but it was a good enough bill that I voted for it, and I regret voting for it. And then they said, but if the vote came around again, I would vote the same way. So you didn't fucking regret it. You regret being called out on it. You regret being chastised for voting against trans people, but you didn't regret the vote itself. No, you didn't. Not a bit. Okay. The other one was with Jamie Raskin, and it was 15, I think? 15 or 16 senators, Democratic senators, that voted with the GOP. Okay. On a bill, similar bill. Okay, so the leadership, and I do have some respect for Moskowitz, and I do have some respect for Raskin, don't get me wrong, okay, but they need to pull their head out of their ass. The leadership, the Democratic leadership, is giving in too early. What is it, early compliance, I think it's called, or comply too early, or whatever, something along those lines, okay, in social media. Where, for example, with what happened with the media companies, okay, with Jeff Bezos and, he's Amazon, but with Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and, the Washington Post and, and other media companies, CBS, ABC, NBC, whatever, okay, gave in to Trump before he even pushed at them. Here's some money. Here's some money for your inauguration stuff. Okay. Here's $1 million. Bezos, Zuckerberg, two others. I can't remember who they were specifically. Gave $1 million for Trump's inauguration. Just free. Yeah, there you go. $1 million. So we have to have that. We deal with that on the left, whether you consider Democrats left, which I don't, but they're left Republicans. Whether you consider the Democrats from the Democrats, which are centrist right, in my opinion, all the way to the left, you have those people who are disgusted with this kind of crap. Indigenous says they hope for the why bother. Oh, I said that already. What's up, gang? Warley? Howdy, howdy, howdy. So they continue to occasionally, not every single one, but they continue to suck up to the fascist administration. RP says, continue to speak up by any means necessary. If nobody continues to fight, no change happens. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? So hold your representatives to count, okay? I called Peters with his office, okay? Obviously, he's not going to talk to me directly, but his office. I called Peters and I emailed him more than once. Why are you pulling this bullshit? Why are you voting with Schumer, and voting with the Republicans? You're supposed to be a Democrat. You're supposed to be against what the Republicans stand for. Yet you're still sucking up to this. I used a little bit more polite language in that because, on the rare chance that he's going to view it or somebody else is going to view it, Mez says, "Where were you? I actually got here on time early." Yeah, I know. I was running a little bit behind today, Mez. But I'm here. I'm running my mouth, and I'm here. We're currently talking about the shitty Democrats. Okay. So these people that will tell you on the one hand, okay. Now I started this way back. I was I've been saying it for years anyway, but this last election specifically, Colin Allred ran against Rafael Cruz. I won't call him Ted. Rafael Cruz in Texas, and lost. Okay, but he. In Texas, not only did they change the law now, then, to where if you have changed your gender marker on your license or your state ID, you have to go and change it back. Okay. Otherwise, physically you don't have to, but if you get, say you're driving, you get pulled over or whatever. Okay, that can be, I don't know if it's a misdemeanor or a felony, one of the two, but it is actually a crime. Okay, to misrepresent yourself on your license, so to speak. Okay. There was also a person who put forth a bill. It didn't go anywhere so far, but put forth a bill that says that even identifying as a transgender person, saying you identify, is a felony. Not physically doing anything, not mentally urging anything or saying anything, just saying that you identify as transgender would be a felony under this bill. Because that's where these fucking assholes are, and that's what they are, assholes. I'm not gonna browbeat about the Bush. They're assholes. Okay. So you got that side of it. You got the GOP. So you would think the Democrats would go, oh no, no, we're not like that, right? No, actually they are, because Colin Allred also spouted transphobic bullshit during his campaign run. So if you're a trans person in Texas, of course, you can also Florida, Arizona, whatever. Okay, but if you're a trans person in Texas, and you're about to vote, do you vote for the person who's going to take away your rights, or do you vote for the person who's going to take away your rights? I disliked for a long time, and I still do to some extent, the whole, both sides are the same thing. Both sides suck, but both sides aren't exactly the same. But in later years, it's becoming closer and closer and closer, unfortunately. Because we have that pendulum politics is what I call it. Okay, so where generally in America, what used to happen, I've been following politics for 40 years. What happened was the pendulum would swing back and forth, right to left. Okay, so if a Democrat got into office this election, presidential, okay, they'd serve one, maybe 2 terms, and then it would swing back to a Republican most of the time. Okay, and vice versa. But that center line kept going further to the right, because what happened was in the 60s, well, maybe a little later, the 70s, okay, the Republicans started to inch a little bit more to the right. Well, they picked up votes. And the Democrats said, oh my God, we can't do that. We can't let the Republicans pick up votes. So they started going a little bit right. And then the Republicans looked at them and said, well, hey, if they're stealing our votes, we got to go farther to the right so we can keep those votes. And so it keeps shifting more and more and more to the right. Obamacare was Dole Care back when Robert Dole was running as president. I know a lot of you aren't old enough to remember Dole, but I do. So, there are Democrats now that there's no way in hell that they would be elected as a Republican, as a Democrat, even 30 years ago. They'd be in the Republican Party. So that's, like I said, that switch has gone farther and farther and farther to the right. Okay. And this particular time closer to fascism. A lot of people blame the Trump phenomenon on there's a lot of racism with Trump and blah 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 and whatever. And don't get me wrong, there is, okay. But I've used this analogy before. It was always there. It's like a wound that has a scab over it. Trump just picked the scab off and let the racist blood flow. Okay. He made it okay to be racist again. Yay! And when people talk about, oh well, our country wasn't like this, we weren't like this, America isn't like this, our country isn't like this. What the fuck are you talking about? We've always been like this. 300 odd years we've been like this, okay? It's just that you, little Miss White Thing or little Mr. White Thing, weren't affected by it previously. Another reason I hate pink hat pheasant medicine, but I can get into that another time. The phenomenon wasn't started by Trump. It was opened up by Trump, okay? But it's always been there. The racism has always been there. Misogyny has always been there. The hatred has always been there. It just made it more acceptable, okay? And closer to fascism. And then we went back to Biden after the first Trump regime, okay? We went back to Biden, who Trump, by the way, still to this day, I don't think he actually believes it, but still to this day claims that the 2020 election was stolen from him. Fuck off. And so do a lot of his cultists, and that's what they are. Cultists, flat out. Okay, if you're wearing the funky red hat and the, with the labels on it or whatever, okay, and the red shirt, maybe it says, fuck your feelings or whatever, okay, and the flags and the this and that, whatever, you're in a fucking cult. Okay? If everything that the man says, you take as gospel, you're in a cult. Just flat out. I didn't see in the last election, much as a lot of people like Biden, which I wasn't that fond of myself, but as a lot of, much as a lot of people seem to like Biden, especially, because it was anti-Trump, I didn't see a whole bunch of Biden stickers. I didn't see a whole bunch of Biden hats. I didn't see a whole bunch of Biden flags on their trucks. Nope, not a bit. Okay. It's another difference. So again, while they're not the same, while both sides suck, they're not the same. Okay. But like I said earlier, let me find it here. We're going to get into a little bit of, nitpicking, okay, and then the two main portions of the show, okay. So first of all, I'm going to put all this stuff in the pinned post when I make it. I haven't made it yet. I got it halfway written. Like I said, I haven't taken my meds yet today, and there's other things that are going on in my life, and so it's been a day. I almost canceled the show, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'll give you the best that I can, okay. But so you would think from the beginning of the show that it's all doom and gloom and whatever, but that's actually the opposite of what I want to do. I want to tell you, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not going to say that nothing is bad, okay? Mez says my internet is messing up. Hi, Indigenous. I said earlier, but it disappeared. Figures. I blame Obama. Funny and not funny at the same time. But I'm not going to tell you that nothing is bad. I'm not going to tell you that nothing is bad is happening. I'm not going to tell you that they haven't taken people off the streets like Khalil. I'm not going to tell you that they haven't tried to oppress free speech. Okay, not going to do that. I want you to be forewarned and forearmed. Okay. However, I am going to point out some things where it is not. I don't want to say not as bad as what you think it is, but where there are some good things happening that people don't know about. If you're sitting there in front of the boob tube, okay, or the internet version thereof, like I do because I don't have cable TV. If you're sitting there in front of the boob tube, or whatever, and you're watching different things like this, and all you see is negative stuff, all you see is one-sided stuff, okay, of course you're going to be upset. Of course you're going to be depressed. Of course you're going to be disappointed. Of course you're going to be apathetic. You're going to feel forlorn. You're going to feel left alone, okay? You're going to feel left out. But it's not the case. A lot of people are pushing back, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But a lot of people are pushing back. So I was going to say I hate myself when I do it. It's not true. Okay. I hate that I have to do it. Okay. But I watch Trump speeches. Y'all do not know how hard that is. I don't mean I watch clips. I watch Trump speeches. An hour and a half, start to finish. Okay. I watch bullshit spewed by Pete Hegseth or Pam Bondi, or when he was, kind of in the running, Matt Gaetz or whatever. Okay, I watch clips from MTG. Thanks a lot, Geek. I appreciate it. Know thy enemy. Exactly. Okay. I watch clips from MTG. I watch clips from Lauren Bobblehead, as I call her, or Forehead Gates, or whoever. Mitch McConnell is not hardly saying anything anymore, but Mike Johnson, that Fucking weirdo. I watched them in part, and I hope I don't sound like I'm being self-aggrandizing when I say this, but I watch them in part so that you don't have to. And I'm not saying that you have to take anything I say as gospel, not in any way, shape, or form. If you think something is wrong that I've said, let me know in the comments. Okay, if you think something is wrong that I'm saying, and you happen to be in the chat at the time, pop in there and say something. Okay, I'm not saying that you have to take everything that I say as 100% unvarnished truth. Okay, but I do try to back up what I say. Okay, and I'm willing to have a discussion with someone who may have a disagreement on. Mez says your sacrifice is appreciated. Thank you. I do try to. I'm willing to have a discussion with someone who has a disagreement on methodology. If you disagree on trans existence, if you disagree on equal rights for other ethnicities besides white people, if you disagree on the fact that femmes, people born AFAB, okay, and others have, if you disagree that they have the equal right, that they have the, bodily autonomy. If you disagree with that, don't come to my show. Don't try to come in my show and talk about it, because you're sure as hell not going to get any agreement from me, and you're likely to get banned. This isn't a free speech zone. This isn't a marketplace of ideas. I'm not pulling all that bullshit. Okay, if you're a fucking Nazi, you're gone. It's that simple. I'm not the tolerant left. Okay, now, goddamn right, I'm not the tolerant left. I'm the intolerant left. I'm the motherfucker that your right grandmother warned you about. All right. But like I said, having said that, I didn't want to go completely down, in tone. So some of the things I'm going to be linking in the description or in the post will be one of my favorite people to follow on YouTube is called Tom Powell Jr. Okay. If you look at him, he looks MAGA. Kind of chunky like me. He's got, I think he's a boomer or close to it. Okay. He's got, salt and pepper hair. He's got a salt and pepper beard. He's got glasses. He runs a trucking company. Whatever. And he's not a socialist, but he's pretty goddamn left. Okay. Hates Trump with a passion, and is very articulate about, when people come onto his show or they spew crap in his comments. Believe me, you don't want to come onto his show and spew crap in his comments if you don't want to get your pee-pees hurt, because that's what's going to happen. All right. But anyway, so he's one you should follow. He has a clip. I don't think it's that name. This is my impression of the clip. Okay. I can't remember if it's a TikTok clip or it's a YouTube short. One of the two. Okay. Because he has the longer videos too. But it's basically fuck Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A. And I think somebody in his comments asked him, why he doesn't, why he doesn't eat at Chick-fil-A and why he doesn't shop at Hobby Lobby. And, I'm not going to cover anything he said. He just did a great job at it. You go and check him out. Tom Powell, with 2 L's, Jr. Okay. And then, you have the people that are more well-known, like Jesse Dollamore, the Midas Touch people, the Humanist Report, the Damage Report, the Habituation Room. But, also, one of the things that all these people have common with? They're all white. So, you know what? Some other people you should check out. Roland Martin. Okay, Dr. Ritchie, Afro Think Tank, Ole, okay, check out their channels. Okay, get a little bit, broaden your mind a little bit. Okay, get that knowledge that we were talking earlier in SJA. Okay, that people who are not in my marginalized groups don't owe me an education, and they don't. But there are people like those people I just named who are willing to come onto the internet, put this stuff out there, and say, this is what we think about this, and this is why we think this about this, okay? To give other people who are not in their group some education. And I love watching these channels because I learn shit that I just don't know. Flat out didn't know. One of the people that's in the chat now and I were having a conversation. We mentioned it briefly in SJA, okay, talking about Lincoln, okay, and everybody's like, oh, Lincoln's a great emancipator and he freed the slaves and on. Well, first of all, Lincoln would have kept the slaves if it would have kept the Union together. But secondly, it was I believe it was called the Dakota 38, okay, and then this person told me Dakota 38 plus 2. Somebody said, Indigenous says my eyesight is, and Indigenous says, because I got cataracts. I'm hoping to have cataract surgery coming up. Benjamin Dixon is pretty good too. Yeah, there's quite a few people. So, if there's somebody, Tabitha Speaks Politics. I just saw this come up on my notifications. Okay, I love her channel. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Don't go into those spaces, though, expecting to, especially if you're white, don't go into those spaces expecting those people to coddle you, expecting those people to say, oh, well, it's okay that, you're racist. You can come into this white, this black space and learn something, and we'll comfort you, and we'll tell you that you're okay, and we'll tell you that you're a nice person. No, they fucking won't. Just like if you come into my space, and that's funny, MySpace. I was on MySpace years ago. If you come into my spaces and you tell me, that you're transphobic, you make comments, that I know that you're transphobic, or that you are ableist or whatever, don't expect me to treat you kind. Don't expect me to, in fact, on my BlueSky account, sister account to the show, my tagline is, the angry wrench is kind, the angry wrench is not nice. Okay, there's times I can be kind, and there's times I'm definitely not nice. This is one of them. So let's actually get into the weeds. Now that we've got into that, we'll get into a little bit. Okay, so first thing I'm going to note is that, again, this will be in the link, and I'm just going to touch on these briefly. Okay. The tribes, some tribes, and the Native American students filed a lawsuit against Trump's administration over the firings of that he put forth of the Bureau of Indian Education firings. Okay. Indigenous says the oppressors will catch these proverbial hands. I can frighten a little like too. Okay. I'm not much of a fighter, but that's another thing that's gonna be on their show. They med shaming, body shaming. I'm fat, flat out. I'm fat. Okay. I weigh almost 300 pounds, and I'm 6 foot, over 6 foot. I'm not little. Doesn't mean I'm badass. Doesn't mean, I can kick somebody's ass or whatever, okay? But if nothing else, I can run and fall on them. You have 300 pounds following you, you're liable to get something banged up, okay? Especially if I can get a run and burst of speed, that's a lot of momentum. But so anyway, these tribes and these students have filed a lawsuit against Trump and his administration over the firings of the Bureau of Indian Education, okay? That's one of the ones I wanted to hit. Again, the information, the links and whatever, that's from CBS News. The links will be in there, okay, as well. One of the brief things I want to talk about before we get into the main thing is how should I put this? Okay, so what's up, Beastie Beast? Okay, so white people have white privilege, just flat out. I have white privilege. Okay, a lot of people don't. People in my chat don't. Okay. So sometimes, too many times, okay, white people are giving in. Okay, Chuck Schumer, Gary Peters, my senator, whatever, okay, are giving in. 2 reasons. One, they, he says I have white privilege. Yeah. One is that, the main one, is that it doesn't affect them. Look at what Chuck Schumer did. Okay, do you think Chuck Schumer is going to be suddenly, bereft, penniless, out on the street on EBT and living in a rat hole? No. Okay. I'm really, really, really surprised that Nancy Pelosi, who I can't fucking stand, okay, Nancy Pelosi pushed back against Schumer and said no. people, you shouldn't do that. When they were talking about doing it, even before they said it, she said, no, you shouldn't do it. Okay. Now, while that's good, and it didn't stop them, but while that's good, I also think there could be, I don't know for sure, but there could be an ulterior motive there, because she got a lot of shit, or a lot of the stuff that she's done lately, over giving in. So now, if she knew ahead of time that it was going to happen and there was nothing she could do about it, she could switch that around publicly, and say, well, I'm going to pretend, that I'm against this, so that it'll look like it'll make me look better. Not my eyes, bitch. Okay. Because I'm still fucking pissed off at you for a lot of the other shit you pulled, especially with Kamala Harris. All right? And the convention. But I've already covered that many, many times. Okay. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to go into a long, well, it'll be most of the show, okay? I got one more thing about Wisconsin, okay, which is going to lead into my biggest segment, okay? And then at the end, I'm going to play some clips, very short clips, okay? So on April 2nd, which is the, is it the 2nd, I believe? The 2nd is when the tariffs are supposed to be reenacted, okay? I don't think they're going to be. I could be wrong, 100%, okay? I don't think they're going to be, because I've seen pundit after pundit after pundit after pundit, reporters, whatever, say that, there's many reports coming out that, and I'm not saying that these guys are, suddenly friendly to the American public, but that a lot of business CEOs are calling Trump, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're screwing up the economy with these tariffs and shit, okay? So, and this is like the second or the third time that Trump said, well, I'm going to do tariffs. Okay, well, not yet. I'll hold them up for a while, okay? Some chaos. That's a part of it too, is the chaos, It creates chaos, and that creates distrust of people in the government, and we already have distrust in the government to begin with. That ain't helping, okay? But so April 2nd is for the tariffs, supposed to return, okay? But now, April 2nd, Wisconsin is going to hold an election. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people think that because the Supreme Court of the United States is appointed for life, that's that way throughout all the Supreme Court judges, and that's not the case. Some states they are. If I appoint, say, Beast, if I appoint him as in the Supreme Court for his state, okay, if it's that way, I don't know. Okay, it could be that he's there for life. Obviously, if something screws up really bad, okay. If I do the same thing with Indigenous, or if I do the same thing with Mez, well, Mez isn't from this country, but if I do the same thing with other people, unless they're, but here's the thing. With the state Supreme Court justices, whether they're elected or whether they're appointed, they do have actually ethical standards that they have to follow, or they can be impeached. Indigenous said my mom had passing privilege, which she used to her advantage with regularity. Yeah. Unlike Clarence Thomas. You start on that motherfucker. Okay. But, and his connection with his fucking wife, Ginny, and January 6th, and all that horse shit. But, it's okay, because it's Clarence Thomas, apparently. But anyway, on April 2nd, Wisconsin will hold an election for a Supreme Court seat. Okay. The race is technically nonpartisan, okay, but it's pretty much divided, as it usually is, okay. The Democrats are lined up behind Susan Crawford, and the Republicans are lined up behind Brad Schimmel, okay? Now, here's the thing. With Wisconsin's Supreme Court, the last election that they had, okay, I think her name was Mary, first name was Mary, I can't remember. Anyway, they had a woman running against a man in the last election for the Wisconsin Supreme Court seat, okay? It was a very acrimonious election, okay? They were, from the Republican side, they were saying all sorts of horrible things about, and I mean, they normally say bad things, but these are really horrible things, okay? To the point where when she won, okay, he refused to call her and, give her, make a congratulation phone call for her winning. He threw a fucking tantrum, okay? And then right after that, it didn't go anywhere, but right after that, the Republicans tried to start an impeachment process for her. She wasn't even in office yet. But they're going to start an impeachment process for her. Try to do whatever excuse they could to get her out of office. Because prior to this, the makeup of the Wisconsin Supreme Court had been 4 liberals and 5 conservatives. Now, at least until the election, but now at that point, okay, after this election, the last election, it was 5 liberals and 4 conservatives. And the thing is, working its way through the courts was a law that was, the courts were going to have to decide, okay, on gerrymandering. And the Supreme Court's got nothing to do with it. Okay, the Supreme Court of the United States can't step in, regardless of which side, how they vote, and intervene with a state support Supreme Court decision about a state law, voting law, okay, and voting issue like gerrymandering, okay, unless it involves a racial issue, and it would be really ironic for the GOP in Wisconsin to say, oh well, we're gonna try to make this go to the Supreme Court because it's got to do with race. That's not something they're gonna do. I mean, it's gerrymandering so bad that with the last election, the last House election, okay, 2 elections ago, excuse me, the votes went to the number of votes, okay, percentage of votes, okay, was 55% Democrat, 45% Republican, okay, roughly. It was very close. There wasn't hardly any independents or whatever, okay. But the Democrats still only had 35% of the seats, and the Republicans had 65% because of gerrymandering. Okay, so I mean, this is bad enough. Okay, so it's a local state thing. Was bad enough. Okay, however, guess who spent $10 million? Remember, you have on the Democratic side you have Susan Crawford. On the Republican side you have Brad Schimmel. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Guess who spent $10 million to help try to get Schimmel elected? Elon Musk. Gee, I wonder why that is. Again, because if he wins, excuse me, sorry, copy burp. If he wins, then the Republicans will once again take control of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and that's one of the states that went for Kamala Harris last time, but barely because of the way the what do you call it, the gerrymandering was set up. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to try to redo it and make it even worse. And if they had been able to do that, it would have allowed, it would have given the victory to Donald Trump. But at that time, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin said, no, we're not going to do that. So that's why Elon Musk wants to do this. Wants to give the money to Schimmel. Okay. If people can defeat Musk in that state, okay, if people can defeat Musk in that state, it also will tell the Republicans, you better start backing off on supporting Musk, okay? Not just nationally, okay, but locally as well, okay? Speaking of lone scum, and that's what I call him, because, hold on a second, I have the wrong, of course, I have the wrong showrunner here. But give me a second here. Let me find the right one. We all live in a condom factory. I believe this is the one I want. Yes, it is. Okay. So just a couple more things. Okay, so like I said, April 2nd, the tariffs are supposed to be coming back. The stock market is down 9% since Election Day. But, Trump's a great businessman. The country's doing great. The economy's doing great, right? Except that it's not. Local price of eggs, this is a couple days ago. I was at Walmart shopping, okay, because I can't afford anything else. I'm on Social Security. I was at Walmart shopping. A dozen eggs is $4.50. Okay. And it's so bad because of the avian bird flu and whatever, okay, it's so bad that Trump's administration is begging Canada, who, remember, they want to make the 51st state, and this jackass is calling Trudeau, which I'm not overly fond of either, but Trudeau a governor, and of the state of I think it was he said the state of Ontario or whatever, okay, which is it's a fucking province. I don't know if to be honest, it's hard to tell anymore if he did that intentionally or just because he's an ignorant fucking loon, okay. But anyway, so he did that, okay. So he's begging Canada, he's begging other places, other countries, to sell them eggs, and they're like, nah, we ain't doing that. Was it Finland, I believe? Sweden, Finland? I think it's Finland. Who has said, you know what? We're not going to refuel your warships either. We got ships over there, whatever. I don't, whatever fuel they use. We're not going to do that either. Indigenous says, didn't Trump himself say he can't discount a recession? Like they already know what they're doing is going to tank us hard. That's the plan. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've said this multiple times in my shows. I've said this multiple times in conversations with friends and family. Wherever else, if I happen to be on SJA or whatever. I've done a couple other interviews with other places, like the Skeptical Leftist podcast. If you look at what Trump has done, okay, and I'm not even talking about his first reign, we're talking about now, okay, if you look at what Trump has done, you look at his attempted destruction, which he still wants to try to do, of the Department of Education. He wants to dismantle it completely. The rich people, their kids are going to get a great education. Everybody else, no. If you look at him trying to dismantle the Department of Education, look at him trying to get rid of all the other departments, the Consumer Protection Bureau, et cetera, okay? And trying to reduce and or get rid of Social Security, which I'll get to that in a second. You look at him trying to destroy all that, trying to destroy the social, political, cultural infrastructure of America, and you realize that that's his goal all along, everything he does makes sense. Now, will he get rid of Social Security? I don't think so. I think he's going to threaten it. I think they're going to try to cut on it. Okay, maybe cut benefits or whatever. I don't think so. And I could be wrong, but here's why I don't think so. Okay, because Social Security for years has always been called the third rail of politics. Okay. We need to cut it to balance the budget. No, you fucking don't, because the Social Security has nothing to do with the budget. Now, there's been a meme going around for many, many years about how the reason that Social Security is doing bad is because Republicans borrowed money from it and didn't pay it back. That's not true. They had to pay it back by law, and they also paid it back with interest. Every single time they borrowed money, the Republicans now, every single time they borrowed money from Social Security, they paid it back with interest. Here's what is the biggest hit on Social Security and the biggest way to fix it, 100% hands down. If you do this, not only can you quote-unquote fix it, you can expand it, okay? Just take off the cap. It's that simple. Take off the cap. What is that? I looked it up because I wanted to make sure I had the right statistic, okay? Used to be 147,000 or something like that. Now it's 176, okay? So if you make $176,000 a year or less, you get taxed at XXXX, okay? Elon Musk, he gets taxed, for that first 176 at XXXX, okay? So let's say if you make 176,000, usually that's probably, let's say it's really hard. We'll say it's 50%, okay? So you're talking 85, almost $90,000 a year. So we'll say 80. Make the math easy. We'll say, so you're paying $80,000 a year, okay, in taxes. And we'll say 40,000 of that is Social Security tax, okay? So you're paying $40,000 on your $176,000. Elon Musk is paying $40,000 on his $176,000. If Elon Musk makes $10 million a year, guess what he pays? $40,000. That cap does not allow it to raise. So what happens is, you both get taxed up to that 176. Yours stays here, his stays here. Even though his income goes way up, he still only has to pay this in taxes. You remove that cap on the income, okay? Even if he makes, let's say, 10%, okay? He has to pay taxes on 10%. Not he has to pay 10%. He has to pay taxes on 10% of his income, okay? And obviously not just Musk, okay? Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg and anybody else, okay? Warren Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, etc. Okay, and then all the millionaires, whatever. You remove that cap, boom. There's no problem with Social Security whatsoever. It's all paid for years, for decades ahead of time. It's all paid for, 100%. Okay, even if people stopped paying today, if that were raised, so this is what 2025. So let's say at the end of 2025, this happened, which it ain't gonna happen, but this happened to where they said, you know what? For 5 years, we're gonna let people making $176,000 or less not have to pay anything in Social Security. They'll still get the same amount credited to them. They just don't have to pay anything in. And in return, we're going to remove that cap from all these millionaires and billionaires and 100,000aires and whatever. Okay. And then at the end of 5 years, we'll start that tax up again. Okay. At the end of that 5 years, you know, you've got money coming out the yin yang. Okay. For Social Security. You can expand it. You can lower the retirement age if you wanted to. You can expand the benefits. You can, you know, expand the amount that you pay, etc. Okay. The only reason that Social Security is having problems is because the rich aren't being taxed at the same rate, flat out, hands down. That's it, 100%. Just like when the GOP says, well, you know, look at how the problems with, you know, the United States Postal Service. Okay. And I'm not saying they're perfect, okay, but here's the problem. A few years back, the GOP, when they were in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, got a law passed, okay, which said that I'm paraphrasing, but the post office has to set aside money for pensions, okay, for their workers. Cool. I mean, that sounds great, right? You know, even though other companies have gotten, you know, screwed over, you know, workers' pensions and whatever, you know, but, you know, it's a government organization, you know, we're going to pay it. Okay, cool. Except what they said was that you have to pay for potential employees, okay? You know, you have to set aside money for potential employees. Like, say, if you think you're going to hire another 10,000 employees this year, you have to have money in your pension fund for those 10,000 employees, okay? So what ended up the post office had to do was to set aside money for pension funds for employees that weren't even born yet. Okay. Why did the Republicans do that? Because they want to privatize it. They want to make money off of it. They want to get rid of it. You know, it's not making money. It's not supposed to fucking make money. It's a service. Okay. It is like, you know, but yet, you know, you look at the military. The military is one of the biggest suckages of the American tax dollar, and a lot of it isn't, you know, it's going to waste and fraud and whatever this Doge is supposed to hit, and they don't do that. You know, this is the way I like to put it. Okay, when it comes to food stamps, EBT, SNAP, whatever you want to call it, well, I call it food stamps. I'm old school. I'm a boomer. I call it food stamps. When it comes to food stamps, when it comes to Social Security, when it comes to disability, when it comes to rental assessments, when it comes to Section 8, when it comes to anything like that, the first thing the Republicans want to do is, how are we going to pay for it? Okay. But when it comes to bombing brown people and black people, oh no, that's fine. When it comes to building these Uber-sized aircraft carriers or planes that in some cases the Pentagon didn't want and they don't fucking work like they're supposed to, no, that's fine. Indigenous says, I wish I could afford, including physically as well as financially, to run for office. Someone like me as Prez would be beneficial to the bottom 50%. I'd be beneficial to most people, benevolent to most people. Yeah, actually, and I'm not saying that somebody who's making $200,000 a year because they're making $200,000 a year is automatically evil. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that the tax structure is unethical and evil. There's just no other way to put it. It's evil. So I want to cover. Game Warley says Joy for president. There you go. Okay. I want to cover a couple brief points here. Okay. So Musk, again, talking about Social Security, direct quote, Musk said Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. No, it's fucking not. Okay. We pay money in for, it's like a 401k. It's my version, because I'm on Social Security, my version of a 401k. I busted my ass from 1975, the first year I started working, until 2022. A lot of people didn't make it that far. A lot of people died early. Okay? or prior to that point, whatever. Okay, these people die before they're eligible for Social Security. A lot of people. Okay. Yep, Joey for president. I'll vote for you too, Joey. So a lot of people didn't make it that far. Okay, but it's my 401k. I put money in, and I'm not even expected. I don't even expect that I get what's the word I want? Interest, because I don't. You don't get interest on your Social Security money. You can get a raise every year as long as Congress authorizes whatever, but you don't, cost of living raise, whatever. But you don't get interest payments on your Social Security at all. Okay, and in fact, if you make above the not poverty rate, the maximum rate for being able to work or to make income and not having your Social Security cut is, for a single person, is $19,000 a year. Okay, so if you're working a job, and you can work a job and get Social Security as long as you're physically capable and whatever. Okay, and as long as you don't make over 19 grand at that job, you can keep all of your Social Security. It's a federal program, so it has nothing to do with the state. It just has to do with how much income you bring in. Gang Worley says, I won't vote for you because then it can't. I know, but it was still fun to think of the idea, like I said, if people like Musk weren't cut from paying into Social Security, 176 grand a year, okay, is $88 an hour. But it's basically what it works out to. If you're working full time or whatever, okay, $88 an hour. So we'll say $90 an hour, just to make because I'm not good with the maths, okay. I'm supposed to look pretty. I'm not supposed to be smart, but if you're making $90 an hour, okay, that's the maximum at which you can be taken out for Social Security. Okay, so let's say you make $1 million a year, okay, which is low level for a lot of these. There's a lot of people in America making $1 million a year. Okay, you think there's a hell of a lot. Okay, $1 million a year is let me do the math here. Give me a second. My brain is brain farting. Divide it by 1,000. $500 an hour. What? Every dollar an hour, if you work 40 hours a week, translates to $1,960 a year. So I just say $2 grand to make the math easier. Okay. So if you make $1 million a year, your income, whether this is before tax and whatever, obviously, is $500 an hour. Take a wild guess, as I'm kind of sort of going into it, but I want somebody to take a wild guess. Don't cheat. Don't look it up on the ye old what do you call it? The Googles, okay? But take a wild guess at how many billionaires, not millionaires, or 100 millionaires, how many billionaires there are in just America alone, okay? Give me a second here while you're doing that. I'm going to refresh this here. Okay, so anyway, take a guess how many billionaires that we have here in America. Okay, so while you're guessing that, go away. One of the billionaires in Trump's cabinet said within the last 24 hours or so, okay, it was reported, and I was like, no, he couldn't have said that. So I went to the clip and watched. Said if my mom, his mom, didn't get her Social Security payment, she wouldn't complain. She would think maybe something went wrong, but she wouldn't complain. The only people that complain are the ones doing fraud, the fraudsters. What the fuck? So you cut off Social Security. This is the excuse he's trying to make. You cut off Social Security for millions of Americans. They don't have it. They don't have a way to pay their rent. They don't have to pay away their bills or electric bills or whatever, okay? And they call to complain, and you're saying they're the ones committing fraud? Fuck you. See, there you go. You got me. God, as my mom would say, you got my Irish up, okay? Musk defended his Doge BS. Okay, so what I'm talking about, what I'm pulling this from here, a good friend of mine showed me this stuff, gave it to me so I could copy paste whatever. I appreciate it. I appreciate her. I'm not going to call her name out, okay? Because I don't think she'd appreciate that. But I do appreciate the effort that she made, okay? And gave me this information. It was an interview of Elon Musk from Joe Rogan. Okay. And the people who reported this is from the Washington Post. Okay, so the people who reported it, like she said, were Pulitzer Prize winning reporters. Okay, I'm not saying that what they reported was inaccurate at all. Okay, and when we were talking about this, I think we got wires crossed a little bit. And so what I tried to say was that I'm not saying that what they said was wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that the information shouldn't be concerning. Okay, what I am saying, however, and I distilled a lot of this down. What I am saying, however, is that a lot of what Elon Musk said was horseshit. Okay, disguised as saving the taxpayer money. Okay. He said, this is a quote, there are cuts that Doge recommends for the department. Now he says, he's not actually doing the cuts. There are cuts that Doge recommends to the department, and usually these recommendations are followed, but these are recommendations that are then confirmed by that department. Technically, he's true. Sometimes. I mean, look what happened to the Treasury Department. They walked in, and like what I said earlier about giving in too early, they walked in, his little Doge lieutenants, okay, walked in with their backpacks and their laptops and whatever, and the people just said, fuck it, and they left. Okay? The president picked a businessman, regardless of whether you like him or not, okay, picked a businessman, picked a private person, we'll put it that way, to make up a company which then had control over departments that were created by Congress. No, it's fucking illegal. I don't care whether it's, it's about saving money or whatever. It's fucking illegal. Congress is the one who makes and breaks departments, basically, if you want to put it that way. Okay. Dissolves departments or creates departments or whatever. Congress is the one who allocates funds, not the fucking President of the United States. So when he claims that these departments are, that these are just recommendations, he's full of shit. Okay. However, people have started to push back, and that's what this whole thing has been about, and what we're getting to. Okay. People have started to push back. There was a department, I want to say it had something to do with the Department of Energy. I can't remember anyway. There was a department, okay, in an office building. Two of his little, backpack boys, okay, wander up to the security guard and tell him, we need to go in, to whatever. He says, well, where's your badges? Oh, well, we I don't remember if they said that they lost them or they didn't have them or whatever. So he does what he's supposed to do. He calls up to the office and says, that, there's these two guys that are trying to get in, right? So they're looking at it over the security cam, I guess, or whatever, okay, and they see these two people and they realize that these two guys are part of a Doge team which came the previous week and tried to get in the office. And they said, no, they're not allowed. They're not part of the department. They're not allowed in. So then these two guys claimed that they were going to, I want to do things that would kick me off YouTube. But anyway, these two guys claimed that they were going to call the U.S. Marshals. I said, call them. Fuck you, call them. I'm not doing anything illegal. You can call them all you want. But he let them into the building, okay, because he didn't know. I'm not going to completely criticize him. He didn't know. So he let them into the building, and they wandered up the, took the elevator or whatever, okay, up to the office, and they wouldn't let him in. They tried threatening him, okay, with whatever. And the people in the office, I'm paraphrasing, said, no, fuck you. You don't have any authority over us whatsoever. And so they left. That's what you need to fucking do, Congress, okay? That's what you need to do, different departments. The FEC, okay, the chairperson said that they'll lose careers too, yeah. The chairperson said, Trump initially said, and I believe, could be wrong, I believe it was in a quote on Truth Social, that they were fired. Okay, fuck you. But anyway, said, no, you're not firing me. It's there's a system and a method. Congress appointed me. Congress has to do it. And so she pushed back for about a week, okay, and then she resigned. What the fuck are you doing? Why the fuck are you resigning? So first of all, okay, if you're going to resign, you're going to quit, okay? So you're not going to be there anyway. Make them force you out. Again, this whole fucking, giving in bullshit is, people say, oh, well, we're getting in the stage. No, we're already in fascism. We're at the point where what we need to do is we need to push back harder and harder, okay? And if we don't do that, then we're going to be in full-blown fascism. Right now, we're like in, say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 6 to 7, maybe a 7, okay? We don't continue to push back, we're going to go up to a 9.9, okay? And I'm not saying that, people haven't been taken off the streets, like Khalil. I'm not saying that people haven't been deported, that shouldn't have been deported, that were illegally deported. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse if people don't get up off their fucking ass, for those who can, and do something. Like the fucking Democratic leadership. Quotation marks, air quotes, supposed leadership. Okay? And the last point here, and so I'm going to drop a little bit of things in, and we're going to go to the clips, okay? Because it is Gata Ace. What the fuck time is it? Oh, it's 5 o'clock, so that's about right. Okay. So the last part here is Musk talked about a part of the Great Replacement theory, which said that Western elites, Jews, Western elites want to replace white Americans with immigrants. This is a quote from him. The more illegals that the Democrats can bring in, the more they are likely to win, and so that's what they're going to do. Illegals can't fucking vote. But the racist, ignorant, cult followers swallow this horseshit like crazy. He claimed it was an attempt to destroy democracy in America. Remember, every Republican accusation is a confession. And he said we will be a permanent one-party state country, a permanent deep blue socialist state. That's what America will become. Okay, so first of all, being a actual socialist state wouldn't be bad. I'm a fucking socialist. Okay, but leaving that aside, okay, a permanent one-party state country. Again, they got more projection than a 25-screen movie theater. When a Republican claims that the other side, quote-unquote, is doing something, they're doing it. When a Republican claims that, trans people or drag queens are diddling kids, they're doing it. Give me a list of, say the top 5, even just the top 5, trans people or drag queens in the last 30 years that have been arrested, let alone arrested and convicted, of diddling kids or attacking kids in a restroom. Guess what? It didn't happen. Now, go back that same, we won't even do 30 years. Go back that same 20 years, okay? And look at how many hundreds every year of Republican politicians, cops, lawyers, judges, counselors, therapists, teachers, clergy have been not only arrested but convicted of child porn, child sexual assault, etc. There's one just recently who, let me think what state it was. I want to say Texas? Maybe Minnesota? Anyway, lawmaker, who might have been Minnesota, put forth this bill, and he knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, but he put forth this bill that said that he wanted to claim that Trump derangement syndrome was a legal definition of insanity, okay? And he was just arrested for multiple accounts of child endangerment, child sexual assault, and having kids porn on his computer, whatever, and bestiality. And because it is a felony with the child, whatever, he didn't get out. He's still in jail. I hope the motherfucker rots in jail the rest of his life. And what is he? What party is he? What was that again? He's Republican. What a surprise. So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. I want to save that. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to bring up these last clips. Indigenous says, holy fucking... something. The poor BIPOC citizens can barely vote. Republicans sought to that. Yeah, absolutely. Was it Georgia, I believe? They had a lawsuit that was brought by... Hold on a second. I've got a bunch of crap in the way here. They had a lawsuit that was brought that was fortunately turned down. What happened was this lawsuit wanted to make it so that there was a county... Well, there was... I think it was Georgia statewide. But what they were actually doing was targeting this county, which the county was like 87% black people. And if they had passed this, I don't remember if it was like a reduction in the number of Secretary of States or polling places or whatever. Okay, it would have severely restricted the black people's ability to vote because they can't fucking win any other way. If you had actual free and fair elections, everybody in America that's eligible to vote, okay, gets a vote. No grandstanding, no gerrymandering. Bucklekin is not part of my vocabulary, yeah. No grandstanding, no gerrymandering, nothing. Everybody gets a vote, okay, and their vote counts. Republicans wouldn't win an election for a long time. Now, I'm not saying that, 100% of people would vote, for the Democrats or whatever, okay. I'm not saying that at all. Because you still have a lot of racist-ass motherfuckers, and that's what they are, racist-ass motherfuckers. If you support the GOP, you're racist. Period. I don't care if you consider yourself not racist. I don't care if you call yourself not racist. I don't care if you're voting for them because you think they're going to bring down the price of eggs or whatever. The GOP leadership are racist. You're voting for them. You're supporting them. You're fucking racist. Period. That's all there is to it. So, we're going to switch this because I want to show you the video. All right? As I'm running my mouth. This is the last part, okay, by the way, of the show. So, Batman. So let's see what we got here. Alright, so let me switch to my Ubin for a second where I can see that. No, I don't want that. Wait a minute. I don't think I wanted to do that. No, that wasn't it. Yeah, I know I made it freeze. Give me a second here, folks. I'm trying to do like 57,000 things at once. What the hell? Where is my zoom? Zoom in, over the boundary main. Wait a minute. What in the world? Sorry about this, folks. I clicked the wrong button. Now I gotta find out where I can fix this. Because I'm a professional. I'm pretty sure y'all can hear me. Why is this not... Hold on. Why is this not... Yeah, I know, my screen is frozen. My screen is frozen. Why is this not expanding? I hate Zoom sometimes. I hate Zoom. Okay, so there's that. All right. No, that's not what I want. There. Finally. Crap. Okay. So let's make sure. Where's my OBS? My OBS. OBS. There we go. Okay. I swear, some people's kids. Alright, so. I'm going to start this clip. Where's my YouTube? Well, it's the YouTubers. Okay. Chris Murphy, that's it. So this clip is going to cover 3 people. It's going to cover Bernie. It is going to cover AOC, and then it's going to cover a guy called Chris Murphy, which I had not known hardly anything about. And then I think I've heard the name a couple of times, and that was it. Okay. Somebody B said, I hear the part about the Trumper who got locked up for SA, and I'm 4 minutes behind, damn it. Yeah. Well, I'm behind too, so don't worry about it, Beast. Where the hell is my YouTube? Where YouTube? Where did you go, YouTube? Where did you go? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, that's not my show. Where the hell is my show? Aha! I found it. Okay. So the main reason I want to do this is because I want to make sure that the volume is working. So if you let me know that the volume is or is not working on this clip, okay, stop. Then I can alter it or restart it, whatever, to make sure. I'm pretty sure the volume's going to work. Okay. Sailing, sailing over the bounding main. Okay. All right, let's check this out. Okay, let me make this a little bigger.
We have a message for Mr. Trump. And that is...
Yep. Okay, so the sound works. So this
we
is
will
Bernie,
not allow
obviously.
you
I'll let that run.
to move this
really
country into an oligarchy. We're not going to allow you and your friend Mr. Musk and the other billionaires to wreak havoc on the working families of this country. No, you're not going to destroy Social Security. You're not going to destroy Medicaid. You're not going to destroy the Veterans Administration. And I'll tell you what else you're not going to do. We're not going to let you undermine the democracy that men and women in this country have fought and died for. You know who the biggest criminals are in this country? They are the CEOs of major corporations who are robbing us every single day. If we stand together, we can not only defeat Trumpism, but we can create the kind of great nation we know that we can become. Thank you all very much.
I think, pretty sure he's from Minnesota, I believe. So it shouldn't take too long. Excuse me. Sorry, copy burp.
But I'm here to remind you that we are not powerless in this moment. People are starting to put the pieces together. And ironically, the most divisive forces in our country are actually bringing more of us together than before. And that's important. And I want to let you all know, in every single stop that Bernie and I have had in the last couple of days, we were in Nevada a couple of days ago. We were in Greeley, Colorado, way out there in Colorado. We went to Denver. Every single stop has completely blown out all attendance projections. 3,200 people in Las Vegas. Out in Greeley, we went to a Republican congressman's district, Gabe Evans, who, he just got elected. He just got elected. Usually your first 3 months on the job, you're on your best behavior. This guy hasn't held a town hall once. So we said, you know what, let's go out there. We'll hold our own town hall. We thought wildest dreams out there in Greeley. We thought maybe 2,000 people would show up. 11,000 people came out to Greeley. Then we went to Denver. And out in Denver, Colorado, again, our wildest dream, we were like, maybe we can get what if we got 20,000 people out in Denver. Last night, 34,000 people in Denver showed up.
This motherfucker that's coming up, I almost makes me want to move to Connecticut. I'm telling you. Let me turn that mic off or whatever.
Political figure episode, we're learning that Murphy must be Gaelic or Celtic or some shit for anti-Nazi. Because between the Dropkick Murphys and Chris Murphy, it seems we've got no shortage of Murphys telling fascists to fuck off. Topic. He also authored a bill that established the Office of Child Protection, which helped abused and neglected kids get the care and services that they needed. He authored a bill that made Connecticut the first state to subsidize stem cell research. He co-sponsored a civil union bill for the LGBTQ community back when gay marriage was still outlawed. And while doing all of this, again, early 2000s had on his website, let me be clear, LGBTQ rights are human rights, and their right to marry and be free from discrimination are civil rights. But never one to stay in one place too long, he decided to run for the United States House of Representatives in 2006 and kicked 12-term Republican incumbent Nancy Johnson the fuck out her seat. Supported public rail infrastructure, but after doing good work in the House for a little while, he decided to move on up and run for the Senate. He faced off against and beat Linda McMahon. Yeah, that Linda McMahon of the WWE McMahons, married to Vince McMahon, current Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. Guys, the current Secretary of Education acted in and ran the World Wrestling Federation. We are living idiocracy in real time, and I miss so much when that movie was funny. Anyway, Murphy beat her in a landslide because at the time, hitting people with folding chairs wasn't a political qualification, but times change. As senator, he has walked 236 miles across the state of Connecticut to talk to constituents and hold daily town hall meetings. He has advocated for women's rights, for LGBTQ rights. He's voted to block funding any more weapons to Israel. He's condemned Israeli settlements in Gaza, sponsored legislation to support American jobs and encourage the United States government to buy more American products. He's criticized the United States of being complicit in war crimes in Yemen. He's never hesitant to take the Captain Obvious position of reminding people that Russia is not our fucking friend. He's been an ardent supporter and defender of the Affordable Care Act while also arguing for a public option in healthcare. He supported immigrants' rights and has supported limiting ICE's authority. He's been an outspoken critic of Trump and after January 6th called for his immediate removal from office and prosecution. He just seems to be on the right side of everything, and as of late, while AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Bernie Sanders and Al Green have been getting all of the credit, he's been doing the same shit. Granted, he's got a tad bit more tact in how he goes about it, and it's probably why he gets a little less publicity. But he has been saying and doing all the right shit, not only criticizing fucking fascists for, being fucking fascist, but also calling out his own party for being the epically feckless fucking failures that they are. He has been calling for the Democratic Party to abandon their neoliberal bullshit. He has pointed out that they have rightfully earned the perception of being a party of elitists who have abandoned the working class. He's continuously reminding the party that we cannot keep adhering to decorum and norms that no longer fucking exist. Chuckle fuck Schumer. And he's pointed out that our loss to the dumbest people who have ever walked the face of the fucking planet shows that the Democratic Party needs a top-down restructuring. The party needs to get its shit together and embrace left-wing populism as an antidote to right-wing extremism populism. Which is what we've been fucking telling you guys for fucking ever. Anyway, these are the types of voices and the type of people that the party and all of us need to be listening to. We need to be giving a ton of credit to people like Murphy who are trying to dropkick some sense into the Democrats. Because God knows that Chuckles, Pelosi, and Schumer are not fucking it.
Okay, let me switch my screen back here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So that's what we need, okay, in my opinion, obviously. Indigenous says the Dems are doing exactly what the oligarchs want because they're mostly oligarchs too. Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's what we need, though. We need a bunch of people like Chris Murphy. I'm not saying he's a perfect politician, okay? But you look at what he, because I didn't put everything on there that he did. I'll put the link for the list for Off the Wagon, which again, I love that guy's channel. He's phenomenal, okay? But you go to that clip and you look at all the shit he did. It's a 7-minute video just in and of itself of a list of all the stuff this guy did, okay? All the stuff this guy supports. It's supposed to be in the Democratic umbrella, so to speak, as far as their platform. Okay, the fact that he took over a 14-year veteran in the House and beat her in a district where he was pretty much, I mean, it wasn't like guaranteed, but he was pretty much, everyone thought, no, there's no way he can win, and he beat her. And he did some good stuff for a while in the House, and he said, you know what, I'm going to run for the Senate. And he beat an incumbent in the Senate. This is the type of fucking Democrat we need. Just flat out, it's the type we need, okay? And I am tired of the people who vote blue no matter who. Really? So that's how we get a Schumer. That's how we get a Colin Allred. That's how we get a Chuck Schumer. I said that, Chuck Schumer. That's how we get a, remember Kim Davis, the one who refused, was county clerk and refused a gay couple a marriage license? She's a Democrat. Southern Democrat, but she's a Democrat. No. We're tired of vote blue no matter who, okay? You need to earn your fucking vote. And I say this as a again, there are marginalized communities that I am a member of, okay? There's a lot of marginalized communities I'm not a member of, obviously. My ass is white, etc. Okay? But they, other marginalized communities have been saying for a long time, you're taking our vote for granted. Joe Biden said, and I'm not joking with this, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. If you don't know, Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. What? And he kind of walked it back, and the Democrats were backpedaling like crazy, okay? And then in this last election, you have, people are like, oh, I don't know why the election lost, and whatever. Okay, so you had 53% of white women, eligible white voters, that voted, okay, because like 70 million people didn't vote at all, okay. But 53% of the white women that voted for Trump. It's like 65 or 70%, whatever, which was lower than what I thought it would be, of white men that voted for Trump, okay. Over, I think, don't quote me, but I think it was over 50%, I can't remember, of Latino men voted for Trump, okay. And there were Latino women who voted for Trump, okay. It wasn't a majority, but voted for Trump. So you have these marginalized groups that voted for Trump, and then you see this over and over and over. Now I watch a lot of YouTube news, like I said, earlier, so you guys don't have to. In part, I also like to stay informed, so helps me stay alive a little longer. But you watch all these pundits are talking about these they show these clips where people are they're on there and they're just crying, ugly snot crying, tears running down their face, about how they voted for Trump and they thought he was going to fix the economy, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. 90% of it, you can tell, because it's also, most of it's white people, except for a few. 90% of it is, I thought he was going to oppress those people and not me. Okay. One of the more famous, infamous ones is of a white woman who was dancing in her video, talking about, how Trump won, and she's dancing, she's wearing Trump is my daddy t-shirt and whatever, And then she also, in part of the video, she was doing this dance, where she's pretending to pole dance, okay. She's in her bathroom, and, there's like a curtain, shower curtain shut, and there's a corner, so she's pretending to pole dance. And then the caption behind it, which she put on there, says, "This is what I'm going to have to learn how to do if Trump doesn't win." Well, guess what? Trump did win. B says, yeah, go ahead and clack out, Chuck. Yeah, I could say a lot of things too, but like I said, I'd get kicked off of YouTube. So, she, did all this stuff, and she's voting for Trump. She voted for Trump, and that's fine, cool, Danny. Then she's on, I believe it was TikTok. I can't remember. She's on there again, crying, complaining, because they cut her EBT, they cut her disability, they cut her rental assistance, they cut her utilities assistance, they cut everything from her. How's she going to make it? How's she going to get by? I cannot think of a better fuck around and find out than that. The leopards eating people's faces, whatever analogy you want to use. Okay. The guy who voted for Trump and they deported his wife. He's a white American citizen, okay, born and raised in this country. She emigrated, went through all the steps, was doing all the legal stuff she was supposed to do. Was going through all the government stuff, and taking tests and this and that, whatever. Every step along the way legal, and they deported her anyway. The Latino woman who was crying, ugly snot crying on video, talking about how, she voted for Trump and, whatever, and then, he deported her family and whatever. And she said that if it happened again today, she would still support Trump. Why? Because he was against abortion. So, last point here. Okay, on the angry wrench. Okay, so you people who watch my show probably know this is coming. B says, I knew Chuck would fold, but I didn't expect to find out he's doing a goddamn book tour on top of that. Glad he got dragged for that. Good. I didn't know either. Sometimes single issue voting can be a stupid thing to do. Yeah. So I'm not going to be nice about it. Okay. If you voted for Trump and you got your EBT cut, if you voted for Trump and you got somebody deported in your family, or you are deported, if you voted for Trump and your school lost its IEP funding for students with special needs, and your kid happens to be a student with special needs, and you voted for Trump and that got cut, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I don't feel sorry for you one bit. I don't have one iota of sympathy for you. I don't have one iota of empathy for you. None. You knew exactly what you were voting for. You just thought it wasn't going to affect you. I'm not apologetic either. People don't like it. I don't give a shit. Okay. I'm tired of people using, voting to take away other people's rights. Okay, and we're not talking about, if it was a case of where, there was a law that came up, the Democrats said, where, women can only have 3 babies, and after that they have to abort all of them. I'd be against that. Okay, or women can only have a baby if they're allowed to by the state. I'd be against that. It's bodily autonomy. Their body, their choice. It's not my fucking body. It's not my fucking business. Okay. But yeah, you decided to throw all of in this case of this particular woman, you decided to throw all your family away. You didn't give a shit about them. You decided to throw all your relationships with your family. You decided to hurt other people in your community, the Latino community, because you're against abortion. Because you want somebody else not to do something that doesn't affect you in the slightest fucking bit. Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you and everybody that thinks like you. Now you see where I got the name from of the show. So I'm going to shut it down here. All right. I will put all of my ad shit, and the links and whatever in the description. Okay. Indigenous says owning the libs by losing it all. Absolutely. Okay. So I am on BlueSky as the Angry Wrench Speaks. I am also on BlueSky. I have a comic strip called the Existential Cafe. I'll leave a little bit more longer description of that, but it's about a bunch of gods. It's a cartoon strip, and it's about a bunch of gods with a piano lounge up in the clouds. And there's Satan, Cthulhu, and Persephone, and Odin and Yahweh, and they have occasional walk-ons. I had a walk-on a couple of days ago with Hemant Mehta, who is the Friendly Atheist. Kind of geeking around because I tagged him. I knew he was going to be on BlueSky, but I didn't think he would respond. But I tagged him, and he thought the comic was cool, which was nice. I had Christopher Hitchens on today. It didn't turn out like the way Christopher Hitchens wanted it to turn out, which I thought was great. Glasscloth says, I'm a little late, but here to watch while I'm doing stuff. Won't be able to comment and chat, but listening. That's okay, Glasscloth. That's cool. I'm just about to end the show, but don't worry about it, because I know shit happens. You've been here before where you were early enough to catch most of, if not all, the show, and that's cool. I appreciate it. So again, the Existential Cafe is a humorous cartoon I occasionally dip into politics a little bit, but mostly it's more about religion and philosophy. Although lately, religion has to do with politics and vice versa. It's not mean-spirited in the sense, it's not like the Angry Wrench does a comic strip. That's not what it is, okay? But I think it's funny. Other people have read it, think it's funny, whatever, that's cool. So you can do that if you want to support me. You can follow me on the Existential Cafe on BlueSky. The Angry Wrench Speaks on BlueSky. I will have the link for my sticker shop and, t-shirt and whatever, all that merchandise bullshit and thing. I do want to make one note. I used to have a coffee cups available, okay? That had the baby goat, which I love that. It's my design. Okay, the baby goat. I used to have that logo on the coffee cup through the same company that I sell the stickers for, and I decided not to, and here's why. The stickers are $1.99 and $2.99. There's 2 different types. Okay, that's it. $3 maximum for the stickers. Okay, your price, not my commission. Your price. Okay. The coffee cups are $17. Okay. And I thought, okay, maybe people buy it once in a while. And then I thought about it, and I realized, you know what? I'm not going to get much more profit out of that on my end, to be honest. I'm not going to get much more profit out of that coffee cup than I would a sticker. So here's what you do. You go to that link, you buy my sticker, okay, of whatever. I have a bunch of different ones, okay. You go to the link, you buy my sticker. You then go to Walmart or Meijer or wherever and buy a cheap-ass coffee cup for $4 and put the sticker on your cup. Boom, there you go. You just saved yourself $15, $16, whatever, pretty close to it. Okay, and you still made me money. You still made me a profit. I also have, PayPal and whatever, all that'll be in the link in the description. So I'm going to shut it down. B says, throwing it down the drain on purpose. This is fine. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to shut it down. I appreciate everybody come in. I really do. Remember to give a like, give a comment, subscribe, all the, good YouTube bullshit. Okay. I do what I do for 2 reasons. I do what I do, 3. One is I don't have a choice. My brain just says, I'm AUDHD. My brain just says, this is a good thing for you to do. You're going to do it. And I'm like a papa. I'm like, okay. But other than that, I do it because I want to help inform people. I don't want to say educate because I'm not an educator. I run my mouth. I am a little piddly-ass show. But I have my viewpoint, okay, and I'm biased. Everybody is biased. If they tell you they're not biased, they're full of shit. Everybody is biased. And I do have a left bias, flat out. I admit it. I try to look at that, whatever information I'm giving, though, through that bias or stepping around that bias, okay, so that, like if something's wrong, if I say something and it's like major, but like, for example, if I said the cap for insulin, the cap for Social Security tax was $176,000, and you said, and you'd be accurate, that it's actually $176,100. Don't bring that pedantic bullshit to me because I'm not even going to bother responding to it. Okay, but if there's something that you think I've gotten wrong, that's a good indication of me misunderstanding something or just not getting something or, misrepresenting something, whatever, let me know in the comments. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I've been called out before when I fucked up, and I went, I fucked up. Didn't always do that when I was younger, but I've learned. I've learned a thing or two in my, way over half a century of life. So I do that because I want to help inform people, and I do that because I want to, forewarn is forearmed. Okay, and I also do that because I appreciate this is a way of me connecting with people. It's just digitally, it's just digitally, online. We're not in person, which would be great. I would love it if it was like, if I was, I can't stand for that long, but if I was, sitting at a table, like a symposium or something, talking to my audience, okay, that would be fucking phenomenal. But I'm not. So this is the best that I can do, okay? You come into my house for once a week, for my little ratty-ass apartment or whatever, okay? When my backwards clock, okay, I have a backwards clock just because it's, I love clocks and it's backwards, and I am too, so. But I like doing what I do. I like running my mouth, but I also like giving people the chance to go, here's a point of view that either maybe I didn't look at before, or I didn't realize before, or I hadn't heard that often. To the very last point, here's a good way of explaining it. Okay, if you're in a group of people and you're going to tell a joke, and you look around, as Christopher Titus said this, you look around and make sure that nobody in that group is a photo negative of you, maybe you shouldn't tell that joke. Okay. But, so let's say you're in a group of people and somebody tells a joke. Okay, I'm white. I'm in a group of white people. Somebody tells a joke. Okay, that's a racist joke. There are some things that can happen with that. Number one, either everybody else laughs appreciatively, or laughs uncomfortably, or doesn't laugh. Okay. If I stand there and say nothing, what I'm doing is I'm complicit by silence, number one. Okay. But if I speak up, that lets a few things happen. Okay. Number one, that lets that person who told that racist joke know I'm not okay with it. Don't tell me, don't bring that shit around me. I ain't putting up with it. Okay. Number two, it lets the other people in the group know. Pour encourager les autres. Okay, it's a French expression. Look it up. But it lets those other people know that I'm not comfortable with it, that I'm not okay with it. Okay, that it's okay to speak out against it. And number three, which is a rare possibility, I admit, but it's number three, it lets, maybe there's somebody in that group who laughed uncomfortably or didn't laugh at all. Yeah, look it up. I'm here to educate, but I ain't educating on everything. Okay, learn how to look up shit. Teach yourself something. But it lets that, maybe there's one person in that group who goes, I didn't realize that, or I didn't look at it that way. Or, for example, if especially in this case, if they make a transphobic joke, or they make a homophobic joke, or whatever, okay, I'm clearly going to push back against that, okay. So, again, that lets that person know homophobic jokes aren't cool. That lets the group know transphobic jokes aren't cool. But that also lets that person know they don't have to be gay themselves, they don't have to be trans themselves, but maybe they're okay with people being whoever the fuck they want to be. But they don't feel comfortable in our society, especially, with Trump ripping that racist scab wound open. They don't feel comfortable doing that. And maybe they may not choose me, but that at least lets them know that there are other people out there who might agree with them, who might say, no, this is where I stop. This is where I draw the line. This is where you can't push that bullshit past me. Okay. And they at least see that there are other people out there willing to take a stand. And it's really that simple. It doesn't have to be, granted it can be, if you're out there protesting and, waving signs and, bringing soup for your family and potatoes. Got to have potatoes for your family. But, in a casual conversation at work, or hanging around a bunch of friends at a party, or whatever, people not necessarily all friends, at a party, it lets people know, not all bigotry is okay. No bigotry is okay. No racism, no transphobia, no homophobia, no ableism, no classism, whatever is okay. Some people will push back. And then Peace says and then you just don't have a sense of humor. No, I don't have your sense of humor. Absolutely. And don't tell me I don't have a sense of humor. Because, all you got to do is take a look at my ex-boyfriends. You see I have a sense of humor. But anyway, so, I usually do this. I spend like 25 minutes for a 5-minute goodbye. So, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I appreciate it. Remember to hit the like button. The thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. If you hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. So that way, if you happen to be on YouTube, farting around doing whatever, you maybe forgot about the show, you're farting around, and and it gives you a notification. It goes, hey, Angry Ranch is about to start a show. Okay, leave a comment in the comment section. I asked this before, okay, and I'm not saying everybody has to make 47 comments, but leave a comment in the comment section. That does two things. That lets me know that you cared enough to leave a comment, that you were listening, that maybe you agreed with or disagreed with something I said, but it also lets the algorithm know. I'm never going to have enough people to make money off this show. I'm not worried about that. I'm not fucking worried about it at all. I've said on my BlueSky, I don't give a fuck how many followers I have. I don't give a fuck how many people I follow. I follow people, and I want people to follow me because of the content. I don't give a damn about the numbers. So, B says, while supporting a guy who couldn't take a black man's joke, so we ran for president. Yeah, absolutely. So B says, on that note, good to see you all again. Indigenous says, later peeps, hydrate and medicate. Glasgow says, punch up, not down. Sorry I arrived late, but I'll rewind rewind more when I'm up. In the morning, not a problem, Glasgow. You know, I appreciate you coming in. Okay, I know you're a mile or two away from me. You're a kilometer or two away from me. You know, so you're in the future. You know, and I'm pissed off at you, motherfucker, because we don't have flying cars and pills for meals. Well, I mean, you got pills for meals, but let's, enough about meth. But anyway, so thank you, Glasgow, for showing up. Thank you, gang, for showing up. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Gang says, I nearly forgot the meds. I haven't taken my meds yet. As you can tell, I'm a little scatterbrained. I want to thank everybody for showing up. I appreciate it. I love all you for showing up. You're awesome people. Peace. And